And a good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, director at WEIU. Today is our guest, our old friend from Eastern, but now he's the Coles County Sheriff. Welcome, Kent Martin.
Thanks, Jeff. Good to be here.
Good to see you again. It's been a little bit since you've been here. I guess since you started a couple of years ago, why don't you just talk about the last couple of years and some of your accomplishments and, be going from Eastern to being the Coles County Sheriff.
All right. Well, that kind of leaves the door wide open, doesn't it?
Oh, well, it's your show. You're the star.
Well, if you're relying on me to be the star, then you must be scraping the bottom of the barrel these days, I guess. But no, I retired from Eastern the end of September of 2021 as police chief here. I'd been out here a little over 24 years altogether. The cards just kind of fell into place to run for sheriff. The primary election was in June of 22, so I had a little time there to campaign. Obviously worked out, won the election, took office December 1st of 22. Since then, so that's roughly 18 20 months, somewhere around there. I think we've accomplished several things. We got a lot of work left to do. One of the big issues I faced when I took office was staffing, kind of like everybody else.
Finding good people, yeah.
Right. Recruiting good people, keeping them around. So we've worked really hard to get our numbers up. We've hired several people since then. So that's eased that a little bit. We could always use some more. So if there's any folks out there that would like to pick up an application at 701 7th Street in Charleston, feel free to swing by. We got a lot of positions open, a lot of different things to do. But we've done that. We've worked really hard just to create a good atmosphere with our employees around there, and really kind of pull them together as a closer knit team. We talk about how law enforcement or first responders are kind of a big family, and really we are. So just working on improving that. Keeping everybody engaged and together, and keep a positive environment to kind of help drive that recruitment and retention factor too.
Schools are getting ready to start here all over Central Illinois. Practices have started, so that means there's a lot more people out and about. What does that mean for for your patrols and your work?
We'll get busy. We'll get busy. The biggest thing I worry about, like you said, especially now, kids getting on and off the bus or just crossing the street to get to school, or the high school students who have gotten a license over the summer and are going to be driving for the first time, back and forth to school. We see a lot of speeding and a lot of distracted driving, and that's what really always worries me going into this time of year is, somebody takes just a couple of seconds to fiddle with the radio or glance down at a text message they receive or something like that, and it can turn tragic just so quickly. And that's always kind of in the forefront of my mind as we get back into the school year.
I drive Route 16 every day for the past 20-some years, so that's why I asked this next question. Route 16, normally it's not too bad, but there are a lot of people that seem they're on their cell phones. They're speeding too fast to go between our two cities. What are you trying to do? Are you doing anything about Route 16? Is it constantly one of your issues, or do you have other things that you focus on?
It's always something we're trying to give attention to. Again, back to the staffing part of it, is we get stretched so thin, and we've got such a big county to cover. You can't be everywhere at once. So it's a little bit like playing whack-a-mole. You'll find a hot spot like that, and you'll try to give it some attention, but then you're pulling resources away from somewhere else. So now, Route 130 will become a racetrack, or Route 45 will start having complaints on it because you don't have a presence there. So. It's a challenge, but we just try to mitigate it as best we can, and then have some high visibility, and again, it's safety driven. So that's our ultimate goal.
I know you can't tell us all about details about this next question, but how do you like plan your patrol and your areas and your times? Do you have like a map, a schematic, or is it like each week you kind of have a different plan of attack, or what?
The county is basically divided in half. So you have an east side and a west side.
Okay.
Whereas now you're not confined to a particular side if call volumes get high, or if there's an incident where somebody needs another officer as a backup or something, you can cross that invisible line. But typically try to split it up that way, so you would handle things on one side of the county, I would handle things on the other side of the county, and that's also for the papers that we serve. We serve a lot of civil papers, a lot of subpoenas, that kind of thing. So it just kind of gives each deputy their area of responsibility so they can make sure that stuff is getting done over there as an accountability thing, so things don't fall through the cracks.
Oh, I like that. And then same thing on investigations. Can you take us I always like the insight and the behind the work scene stuff, like kind of the stages of an investigation, an incident or an accident or a crime has happened. Can you take us through just the basics of an investigation?
Yeah, I can give you the 30,000-foot view because, of course, they're all a little bit different depending on the nature of what's going on and what our capabilities allow. But most things are generated with a report to a patrol deputy. Sometimes we'll have someone show up at the sheriff's office and just walk in and file a report. But typically they come to our attention when a deputy responds somewhere and takes a report from someone. So we have 3 full-time investigators. Shane Duzan is our investigation supervisor. He's a sergeant, so he'll review those, assign the cases out to the detectives based upon their current caseload, and some officers have stronger skills in one area than they do another. So we may push more of a certain type of offense towards one guy or another, but he assigns those out. And we go through follow-up investigations where we try to locate witnesses. We try to, just develop as much information, as many leads as we can to help build the case. Ultimately, hopefully resulting in an arrest, or it may be something where we have to refer it to another agency if it happens outside of our county. You also mentioned accidents in there, which I think accident investigations are something that they're often overlooked. We did have an accident reconstructionist on staff. Yeah. He is retired. We're looking at sending a couple of deputies to that. It's a very long, intensive course. A lot of math, a lot of physics, a lot of science. So I'm probably not the right choice to go to that one.
I will not apply for that job either.
Yeah. But the Illinois State Police currently handles our major accidents. So if there's fatalities or very serious injuries, they'll come in. The problem there also being it could take a long time for a trooper from somewhere to get here and take over. So it's another reason why we're looking at redoing that in-house.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah. What about, how do you choose if you think that you guys should be patrolling or at a bigger event that somebody puts on in Coles County, like the fairs this week? Do you have somebody out there every once in a while, or if there's a big football game or a concert or whatever?
Yeah, I always encourage my deputies if they're able to stop by somewhere like that to get out, to be seen, for a couple of reasons. One, there's a deterrent effect just by being visible. Plus, we want to establish good relationships with those we serve who are out there, again, for a number of reasons, just to be a good neighbor. Also, if we can get people to interact with us in a setting that is not an enforcement situation, they see us that we're just working people. I mean, you sit behind a microphone, we drive a squad car. We're just people doing a job like other folks, and so we want to be seen, as just regular people, and then that hopefully transfers into people will work with us, they'll support us, they'll cooperate us because they know us on that individual level.
On that same page, what is the best way for somebody who maybe does want to make contact with a police officer who's at a fair, at a ball game, or they see him or her, I should say, in a uniform? Is there a proper way that you would prefer to be? Someone, because when people come up on, it's probably a little scary for both when you see a stranger coming, or if a stranger says, "I need to talk to that guy." Is there a proper way?
I don't know that there's necessarily a proper way. They just come up and say hello, and ask. Hey, have a minute? I'd like to ask you a question, or I'd like to talk to you. Absent a situation where we're actively looking for someone or actively trying to resolve something or deal with something, we always make time to stop and talk for a few minutes.
You're active on a scene, and lately, as you know, social media is everywhere. Do you find people, or do you have any instances around here where people are trying to, film or something, and how do you deal with those? Do you just block them out, or do you just say stay back, or what's the kind of the Coles County Sheriff's Department on that? That's nothing new. That's gone on for quite a while, and as long as someone's not interfering or getting into an area or a location where they're endangering themselves or somebody else, we don't have a problem with them filming things. I mean, it's here to stay. So unfortunately, or for that, right?
Right. Yeah.
When you do you do a lot of talks? You or your officers do a lot of talks with schools, at the younger age, middle age, or do you go out and make presentations to schools and things?
We do presentations. Those will be ramping up again here the next few weeks. We usually give the school districts a little time to get settled in before we start stopping by. But sometimes if we're out and about, we'll just pull in and get out and walk inside, say hello, talk to everybody. Doesn't necessarily have to be a presentation or a scripted, scheduled event, but we try to just get out and, again, be seen and interact with people before it gets to the point where we're having to take some type of enforcement action.
Yeah. You did talk. I had it on my list. Lots of job openings at the Sheriff's Department. Are you looking for deputies, office work, jail?
Well, this will probably surprise you because a lot of people don't fully understand everything that goes with the sheriff's office. So, of course, we are looking for corrections officers to work in the jail. We're also looking for road deputies, but then we need a maintenance person. I have care and custody of the courthouse as the Coles County Sheriff, so I'm responsible for the courthouse, and I've got a maintenance staff up there, so we're shorthanded in the maintenance department. We need a telecommunicator who works in the jail. They answer the phones and help with filing paperwork. They unlock the doors in the jail when the jail staff needs to go around. They do a wide range of things. We need a part-time cook. So, do anything on the weekends? Can you make sandwiches?
I can make sandwiches.
Okay, there you go. There's really a lot of
a lot of variety, right?
Yeah, there is.
And that seems to be a problem in all of Coles County right now. As Coles County's kind of, a lot of new business, a lot of new things are happening, but a lot of open jobs. So we definitely need people to come to our area. Is there? You might have just answered this last question, but I'm asking: is there something people don't know about being the sheriff that you do, or that it's kind of one of those things that I didn't know he did that. I didn't know they were responsible for. I mean, you said you're responsible for the courthouse. Is there anything else that falls in line like that?
Yeah, it was just. I'd been in law enforcement for almost 30 years by the time I started this gig, and I never stopped to think about. I never once in my life cared about the cost of bologna until the cook comes up to the office one day and says, "Hey, what are we going to do here? It just went up, 60 cents a pound or whatever." It's like, oh, okay. So, running a kitchen in a jail, how much food do you get? How many utensils do you need? That kind of thing. The care and custody of the courthouse. Yeah. Being responsible for, like I said, the maintenance aspect and all that. There's a lot of non-law enforcement related pieces in that puzzle.
Math too involved there.
Math too, yeah.
Which is never good. Right? Did you always know you wanted to be in law enforcement, Kent?
Yeah, it really started, really got the fever when I was in college, but I felt like before that, even as a kid growing up, some type of a first responder, just something in that service area. And then when I was in college, I got to know a couple of the campus officers that worked there, and that kind of had the bug bite me then.
So where were you an officer before you came to Eastern then?
I was in Kansas.
Okay.
Here for 4 or 5 years over there, became chief over there, and then left there to come to Eastern.
Okay.
So,
do you have morning meetings with the staff, or how do you you always see the things on TV where they have those? Is that real, or do you do things like that?
we're not so big that we have those meetings regularly. I do try to get my command staff, so my shift supervisors, my jail supervisor, my patrol and investigation supervisors. We try to huddle up every now and then. We did have a regularly scheduled meeting, and I found out we don't always have enough to go over to warrant having a full-fledged get-together. I'm not one to have meetings just for the sake of having a meeting, but I have a chief deputy and I have a captain. So that's kind of your 1, 2, 3.
And we should say Tyler planned on being here today.
Yeah, Tyler was going to be here today. He had a family
Yep.
commitment, so he wasn't able to make it. But the three of us, so the sheriff, the chief deputy, and the captain, we meet and talk daily. One thing I really enjoy and really like is I have a lot of people that stop in my office.
Yeah.
I'm an open door guy. You know, practically everybody says, "Oh, I have an open door policy." Well, my door is literally open, unless I was on a statewide Zoom call with the Sheriff's Association this morning, so obviously I shut it. Then just for privacy and noise, but. The office door is open, and so my line officers, my corrections officers, they're always popping in and out of the office, the civilian staff. So while we don't necessarily have a formal sit-down meeting as regularly as I thought we might, we have a lot of good internal communication just from that type of avenue.
That's cool. Do you do ride-alongs at the Sheriff's Department?
We do.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So we typically... Well, I guess we could do those about any time. People generally come more late afternoon or evening, which is a great way for someone who might have an interest in joining our agency or just learning a little more about what we do can come out and go out and see that the real world and the TV world and the movie world are vastly different.
I always want to do that for some reason.
Come on in.
Well, I'll tell you, what got me interested in is the former Mattoon Mayor Gover used to do ride-alongs all the time with the Mattoon Police Department. He said it was one of the highlights of his being the mayor over there is that they would always let him go on ride-alongs. I'm like, I don't know, it sounded cool.
Yeah, come on by.
I will. Best part of your job? What's the best part of being the sheriff of Coles County?
Oh, wow. It's going to sound cliche. I just like working for others. I like helping people that have a problem find a way to resolve their problem. I like leading. I got a really good staff. I like leading them and helping them to be successful in what it is they're doing.
One of the things I wanted to ask Tyler was how would he talk about you as a leader? So a little bit. So you can ask him. I was going to ask that. Tell him I was going to ask him that question. Same thing though. Is there a tough part? Is it what's one of the tougher parts of doing the job? So the things you see, do.
Yeah, those. You see some things that are probably better left unseen, and just. You don't want to be a defeatist, but there's just some people or some situations that you can't do much with.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's frustrating when you see a person come into the jail, for example, over and over and over, and you could see that they've got some potential in them, but until they want to see it and they want to realize it on their own, you can't help them until they want to help themselves.
There you go. That's a good answer. Do you like community news tips? Or, if somebody sees a crime or they think they know something about something, the pictures you guys post or not, do you enjoy those, or you find them useful?
The tips,
like the tip line or something like that.
Yeah. The one thing that I always kind of shake my head at and that gets frustrating is I know we're in a digital world and I know we're in a social media world, but I'll see a Facebook post on our page or a Facebook Messenger thing. It's like, please don't contact us that way. Go through the dispatch channel, because who knows when we're going to actually see that post or that comment that's on there. And we don't want to turn people away if they have information or if they want to report something. It's just not the most efficient way to go about.
So you'd still prefer people to always call or stop in with a tip?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Lots of training these days in all kinds of industry. Can you talk about some maybe like a beginning officer as opposed even what you have to do in the continuous training part of your job?
Sure. Our corrections officers will go to 8 weeks of corrections school where they cover everything from first aid to proper way to transport inmates to, it's just a crash course in working in the jail. The folks out on the road or the detectives, they go through a 16-week basic law enforcement academy, just like city cops or anybody else goes through. There's a whole litany of continuing training that's mandated by the state of Illinois after that. So there's some courses that you have to take once a year. There's some courses you have to take every 3 years. You have to do so many hours of role play for, say, high-risk traffic stops or use of force or those types of things. It's a real challenge to get everybody through all of those because, again, going back to the staffing issue, if I have to send you to a 3-day course, I don't necessarily have somebody that can backfill your spot. So now you're paying overtime. It's a very expensive thing. A lot of the training is very valuable. It's very good. It's just difficult to get it all accomplished.
Yeah.
And then as sheriff, I'm required to get an additional 20 hours a year of supervisory or administrative type training.
Okay. Is there one thing that you like over the next couple of years that you would really want to implement or change or revamp? Is there a next couple of projects down the line in terms for the sheriff's department?
Yeah. Again, we're trying to get our numbers up. There's been some discussion internally about making us more competitive with some other agencies by looking at the 12-hour shifts. When I worked out here back in the late 90s to 2021, I spent a good portion of that time on patrol. And I didn't want to work 12-hour shifts, so it's not appealing to me, but that's really a driving thing now with our younger officers that are coming in because they get so much more time off.
Yeah.
They work rotating days off, and Eastern, Mattoon, Charleston, they're all on 12-hour shifts, so it's something that I think we need to explore so we stay competitive and don't lose officers to those agencies.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't think about that. One of the other things that's out there right now in the world is officers' mental health. Is there mental health training
Yep.
and services for your officers?
Yeah, those are that's one of the things that's included in those mandates I spoke of a minute ago. We also have an employee assistant program through Sarah Bush, and we just really focus on taking care of each other and just checking on each other. Mental health and suicide and alcoholism and substance abuse is it's so prevalent in first responders because we're so worried about helping everybody else that for a long time we've neglected helping ourselves, and just trying to make deputies and everybody understand that if you see something, if you deal with something, it's not a weakness to ask for or to admit that you need help coping with that. is actually a sign of strength and professionalism and maturity.
It's just tough, I think, in any
yeah.
industry for people to step up and say, hey, I'm stressed out or I have a problem or whatever, I think.
Yeah, well, we're the fixers, you know.
Exactly. You're the one who ran into that tower, right? So there you go. We got a few minutes left. We're talking with Coles County Sheriff Kent Martin today. I guess you're in the middle of your first term. Are you looking to run for re-election in 2026?
Most likely, yeah.
Okay. I always like to break news when we can here. So
right.
Again, let's go back to I love the fact that when you talk about the community, any other things that you do for the community, you put on events or you're a scene at, or you like to do to kind of build that community trust between the trusted officers?
Well, I was actually feeling bad and a little disappointed on the way in that the fair's gone. And the fair got here and left before I even had a chance to get out there. We had some illness in our household and some things going on, and so before I knew it, that opportunity was gone. But that's something I enjoy each year is getting out there and going around being seen. Just trying to hit as many festivals or
Events,
get-togethers. Coles County has a lot of good things to offer in those areas and a lot of fun events.
There you go. All right, we'll do rapid questions to wrap this thing up, all right?
Okay, bring them on.
So, all right, favorite police TV show of all time?
Hill Street Blues.
Crime or movie drama that's police related? Do you have a favorite movie?
Oh, that's a good one. Crime or police related
just so
movie.
like The Fugitive or something. I don't know.
Yeah, The Fugitives are good. Die Hard, of course, is always good.
What about favorite athlete? You got a favorite athlete of all time?
Favorite athlete of all time, the former Chicago Cubs catcher, Jody Davis.
There you go. I met him before.
Oh, cool.
Sport that you were watching right now, Olympics? Do the Olympics have you fascinated with anything?
Well, our 6-year-old loves the jumping in the pool game, so we've been watching a lot of diving and swimming.
There you go. A traffic law which you wish people followed more?
Put your cell phone away. No distracted driving.
I could have bet $100 on that one. Do you have a pet?
Yeah, we've got several.
There you go. So we won't go into the names. And
Yeah.
I asked this question a lot lately because I wonder if people do it. Have you ever skydived, would you skydive?
I have not. I would like to think I would. I don't especially like heights real super well, so I don't know that I would have somebody may have to throw me out of the plane. So part of me says once I'm done and on the ground, I would think it would be really cool, but I don't know that I'm brave enough to take the first step. So
Golf, beach, or a cabin in the woods?
Ooh, beach.
There you go. It was great seeing you again, Coles County Sheriff Kent Martin. Next time, hopefully Tyler can come, but I appreciate you coming in on this Monday.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
There you go. If you need any more information, contact him. Lots of great jobs available also at the Coles County Sheriff's Office. Just give them a holler. We are WEIU.